Good morning to my fellow Snyder fans. Let's talk about WB moving out of LA to Leavesden and so much more. Earlier today I've learned even more that Hollywood is not only dying, but jobs at the studios are being shifted out of the country and out to other places like Leavesden, London, and Vancouver, Canada, including other places like Georgia here in the US, along with Mexico, and lots of places overseas. As for the Snyderverse, if we do restore it, not only do we want Man of Steel 2, with Brainiac as the prime villain being the first priority for Zack to work on, as well as having Henry Cavill and Sasha Calle back as Superman and Supergirl, but also making sure he gets the right people cast like Dave Bautista, or perhaps Benedict Cumberbatch for Brainiac, Anne Hathaway for Silver Banshee, Ed Skrein or Mike Coulter for Metallo, and Guy Pearce for Cyborg Superman. We are long overdue for certain new villains from the comics to be brought onto the live-action cinemas of big screen entertainment. And as for Lois Lane, either Amy Adams returns or possibly others like Rosa Salazar or Gemma Chen would replace her. Lex Luthor, well, while I still stand by my word that we've had enough of him being the villain of every movie, I'm not against Jesse Eisenberg returning for Man of Steel 2 as long as he's there to act as a secondary villain who not only acts neutral if he has to, but also is there to recruit more villains like Metallo and maybe even Brainiac into his Legion of Doom, which we are still owed by WB as well for live-action DC movies. Also, we do not want the studios to resort to rehashing villains like they have been in previous Superman movies, but because decades have gone by, and a lot of DC fans are not going to put up with waiting decades longer for Brainiac and others to get brought onto the live-action big screens. And yes, we don't know what the studios are planning with their movies, but we also gotta hang on. Now, as I was saying, we don't want the studios to resort to pandering by rehashing villains we've already seen enough of. Kind of like you saw in The Flash, and what you're about to see in Superman Legacy. Believe me, even if they are moving out to other places, we still can't allow them to keep repeating history all over again. Yeah, and there's no telling what lies ahead of us for the future. But one thing's for sure, we must keep our movement going. Even if, no matter how compromised the leaderships in every sector of the entertainment industry as a whole ends up becoming at the behest of BlackRock and Vanguard. Keep fighting, my fellow Snyder fans. Keep fighting. I'd like to discuss the Legion of Doom, which is led a supervillain organization in the DC universe led by Lex Luthor, Brainiac, and others who are deemed the most intelligent, the most powerful, and the most resourceful. And here on the back, on this comic I got from the library, is Brainiac, showing other members of the Legion of Doom like Lex Luthor, including Gorilla Grodd, even Sinestro right here on this side. These villains, along with Brainiac, would have made much better candidates for Zack's universe if we hadn't put up with all that interference from BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street sending their pawns into the studio to cause us problems. Yeah. This novel actually focuses on Hawkgirl and her people. This is part of the New 52. So many heroes in here working side by side. And man, going off-world to outer space. Something that Warner Brothers hardly even does with its DC movies these days. Because they're more focused on keeping everything grounded on Earth. Of course, we do know that the real reason is because of these stupid executives who are being so evil, rotten, and selfish, constantly giving us all the same stuff we've seen our heroes come face to face with. And we haven't even gotten a live-action Green Lantern show or film since 13 years ago in 2011. And here in this comic, the main plot of this comic features Lex and Brainiac leading the Legion of Doom into capturing the most powerful entity of the multiverse of DC, called, well, Proxima or something. Forgot the name. Perpetua, yeah, that's her name, Perpetua. She's shown to be the most powerful entity in the DC universe. Clearly she was killed off and absorbed by the Batman who was actually the Dark Knight, who became the Darkest Knight before challenging a ultimate powered Wonder Woman. Man, Brainiac's ship. And here, seeing how close Brainiac and Lex are working together during their conquest. It's another reason why I think that if we do restore the Snyderverse, Zack should make some new additions or start choosing better villains from the comics to join Lex and his Legion of Doom. Not just make everything 100% simple all the time, because that's a real issue. And it's also why I am boycotting James Gunn's Superman movie, because it's a rehash of previous movies we've already seen, constantly being repetitive with the same villain over and over again, and not giving others like Brainiac and Metallo a chance. Believe me, I do not mind seeing more of Lex Luthor in Zack's universe, just as long as we get to see other villains who are long overdue for big screen, silver screen, live action movie appearances like Brainiac. And I am angry of how big money groups keep winning and that there's no accountability. And I can't even trust Nelson Peltz to win, because knowing Iger for being close with the Democratic Party, he's sure to cheat. Clearly, we would have to get rid of BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street and find some way to divest and get their Disney and other studios to divest away from these three poisonous entities. I mean, Brainiac is really awesome. And here we have more members that could be chosen for Lex's Legion of Doom in the Snyderverse. Val Sinestro and Gorilla Grodd. Now this character I simply would not have being part of the Zack's vision, because he wouldn't fit. Brainiac absolutely would. I mean, look at him. How could they turn away from this guy? Now, we did get Sinestro out of British Italian actor Mark Strong in Green Lantern, but he wasn't an antagonist in the movie. He was a supporting character, as well as the tritagonist, as the film's tritagonist. Originally, Sinestro would usually be wearing yellow, since he wears a yellow ring. And look at this. And here's Brainiac's ship. Yeah, we're moving close. we're moving deeper into the AI age, and we definitely could use, and it's definitely the perfect time to consider bringing him to the big screen. We need him, which is why we need him to start making our movement more public. Not just fight for the restoration of the Snyderverse, but also fight for the rights to have Brainiac included in a live-action Superman movie to fight Superman, and not go so far into being so fundamentally deviant from the source material. We want him to fight Superman in live action, and we want Superman to fight Brainiac exactly how we see him here. Even though I've shown you that in another comic, which I'll get to right away. Yeah, this is how we want Superman to look when taking on Brainiac. Maybe not in that exact colored suit, but definitely of who he is and how he was done in the source material. Yeah, believe me, the corporate culture is absolutely evil, with too much ego, driving the executives nuts. We need to get out there and address it. We must revive Stephen Knight's pitch for Man of Steel 2, which definitely features Supergirl and Superman teaming up against Brainiac for the first time in a live-action film. We need a live adaptation of this storyline right here, and I do believe in Zack, because his movie Man of Steel has laid out the perfect groundwork for a strong DC cinematic universe. Clearly, the WB has been executives and leadership has been a problem because of the shareholders they represent, and I do not want Bob Iger getting his hands on this brand, because I know that for a fact he'll just act exactly like WB, ignoring Brainiac and giving us random garbage, but also that of Marvel and DC crossovers, which we're not frickin' ready for yet. I mean, look at Martian Manhunter. So far, you've managed to bring him. So far, Zack was able to bring him to life in the live-action movie Justice League, and I would sure love to see him return for the Man of Steel sequel to help Superman and Supergirl fight against Brainiac and his forces. Because many of the studio politics, fueled by such twisted, hyper-totalitarian corporate entities like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, have become a huge problem that we have got to tackle. We must restore the Snyderverse, and we must revive Stephen Knight's pitch for Man of Steel 2. And I would love that, and if we do, I would love for Zack to make sure that we not only get Brainiac to fight Superman in live action, but also others like Metallo, Silver Banshee, and Cyborg Superman, villains who are also long overdue for a live action movie appearance. Well, hashtag restore the Snyderverse, hashtag revive Man of Steel 2, hashtag make live action Superman vs. Brainiac movie, hashtag make the Man of Steel 2 with Brainiac in live action. Farewell. Take care, my fellow Snyder fans. I'll have more to discuss in the coming weeks.